Welcome to the Modern Stock Car Cup Tour, here in race 4 out of 26 in our second season. We have an interesting race at the track that is known as the Lady in Black and the track that is too tough to tame. We are here from Darlington, South Carolina at Darlington Raceway, as we are set for the Southern 200, 147 laps, 200 miles of wonderful racing here in the Modern Stock Car Cup Tour. I'm your play-by-play commentator for tonight's events. It's Dan Wilkins, as we are just about to get set with the pace lap and then 147 laps of exciting racing here from the Lady in Black. Now, why do they call it the Lady in Black, you might ask? Well, the track has an interesting format where turns 1 and 2 are actually wider than turns 3 and 4, so you really have to have a perfect setup if you want to succeed here in South Carolina. We have 38 cars on the grid this afternoon, as it's 91 degrees here as we start our engines in Darlington. 91 degrees. It's going to be a hot, hot race, especially when it comes to track temperature. It's going to be an interesting one, as we are just about to get set with a 200-mile event from Darlington, South Carolina. We're about to hear the driver command, so let's listen in.
Drivers, start your engines!
That's what you like to hear. You like to hear that starting command as we are just about to get set for the Southern 200. 38 cars roll off of pit lane. It's time for our starting lineup. In row 1, we have Creed Daniel and Wyatt Floor. Row 2, we have Darian Arnsdorf and Ty Rogers. Row 3, we have Agristo Papageorgis and Nolo Hamilton. Row 4, we have Leo King and Santiago Alvarez. Row 5, we have Stephanie Larson and Ryan Adama. Row 6, we have Abel DeMarco and Brady Wilmington. Row 7, we have Patrick Starr and Carl McKinney. Row 8, we have Dan Wilkins and Arthur Xavier. Row 9, we have Tim Moore and David Iller. Row 10, we have Armin Salvador and Jacob Thibodeau. Row 11, we have Greg Shetner and Mitchell Collins. Row 12, we have Dakota Bennett and Bradley Rhyme. Row 13 has Chase Buck and Luis Aguilar. Row 14 has Jay Bird and Gustav Adolf II. Row 16 has Tanner Berryhill and Lynchy Wolf. Row 18 has Christian Coppola and Faris Khalil. Row 19 has Jay Monin and Kyle Driscoll. Row 20 has Mina Bill and Bryce Thurlocker. And I might have miscounted the rows, but starting last in the last row is Brooks Bergen-Smith and Ethan Mitchell. So I must have miscounted one of the rows because it ended up having us with 21 rows, which is not what we have. But 200 miles of racing at the track that is just too tough to tame, we have Green Flag from Darlington. Already some tight racing, and Agristo Papageorgis getting right on the rear bumper of Darian Arnsdorf. Middle of the pack getting a little bit squirrely. Jay Bird moving to the middle line. So Creed Daniel already out to a pretty big lead. We have Wyatt Floor and Darian Arnsdorf making that battle for second, and Wyatt Floor in the brand new number 0 Oreo scheme. Cars are starting to get a little bit loose. Now on lap 3, look at Santiago Alvarez. Look how low he's going. Oh, I don't like where this is going at all. Look at Carl McKinney. Wow. He got extremely close and almost got turned. He's running in the 16th position right now. I think I saw Brooks Bergen-Smith hit the wall back there. Now they're starting to run. Oh, Greg Shetner. What in the world, Greg Shetner? There's no caution. Let's see what happened. So I think what happened, he's running mid-pack. Bradley Rhyme essentially turned him. How does that not warrant a caution? How does that not warrant a caution? I'm seriously interested in knowing how that doesn't cause a caution. Let's just make sure. Yellow flags are on, as you can see here, so look, that reminds me of Atlanta in Season 1, where we saw a wreck between Ryan Narveson and Ben Lloyd last year. It was the second race of the year. It was the SunTrust 195, and the interesting thing about that was it was the only caution of the race after there was 5 laps to go, and it was a wreck between Abraham Geertz and Justin Melillo. That was the only caution in the entire race, but the tangle up between Ryan Narveson and Ben Lloyd happened on the backstretch. It was like laps 95. It didn't bring out a caution because, you know, they thought it was out of everyone's way. So we have some single file racing going on here. As we go back, you can see Dakota Bennett. He's got a lot of damage on that left side of the car, and I'm not surprised by it either, considering the circumstances. He's got damage on both sides of the car, because he was caught up in that accident with Greg Shetner. And I also find it interesting, if we take a look at Gustav Adolf II, he's got the Aston Martin paint scheme, and he's got an Aston Martin paint scheme on a Ford. Now, I don't know much of the history between Aston Martin and Ford, but I'm not exactly sure that it's... I don't know if there's a connection, or... It's an interesting paint scheme, that's for sure. We'll take a look through the rest of the field. There's Minha Bell. They are making their first start in the MSCCP. Minha Bell in the number 32 Fender Ford, becoming the third driver to be a part of DeMarco Larson Motorsports, and they've got a lot going for them, especially considering that it's the first race that they're participating in. You know, I've always told people when they join this server, they're just like, you know, oh, am I joining too late? And I'm like, no, because even if you join, you know, it kind of reminds me of Kyle Busch back in 2015. He broke his leg in an accident at Daytona during the Xfinity Daytona race back in 2015. He came back in one of the most inspiring comeback stories ever, went on to win the championship, as Minha Bell actually tagged the wall on the backstretch coming off of 2. As Luis Aguilar and Minha Bell, they're battling for the 30th position. It seems like it's mostly single-file racing so far here at Darlington. And Greg Shetner is back out on the racetrack. He is 2 laps down. And then we see the 19 of Chase Buck, who doesn't have a front end anymore, but he's in 38. Remember, only 38 cars were registered for Darlington, instead of the usual 40. So that's what you kind of got to consider. Seems like most of the pack racing is up front, even though Creed Daniel has a 2-second lead over the second place counterpart, Wyatt Floor. And Wyatt Floor has had a really good start this season so far for him. He led the most laps out of anyone at Daytona. He led 18 laps before being involved in a crash on lap 88, where he was taken out of the race along with Darian Arnthorpe, who was also taken out of the race as well in that accident, where I believe it was Esko Laukkanen and Brady Wilmington that basically tangled up. And it was a big wreck in the trial. But he led 18 laps during the race, and that was essentially it. And he's been pretty consistent as well. He led a decent portion of the race during Homestead as well. And Luis Aguilar is now coming off of pit lane. He might have gotten scuffled up a little bit. Let's take a look. Actually, no, because it looks like... I think he might have just come down pit lane if something was wrong with his car. I mean, you could see, yeah, he goes down the pit lane. I don't think there was really anything wrong with his car. But as you see him come down there, if you watch the pit stop, he just gets 4 tires and fuel, and that's it. So a bit of an interesting case for Luis Aguilar, now running in the 36th position. He is 2 laps down, even though there's not really much damage on his race car. But there is Creed Daniel with a 2-second lead over his competitor. And once again, there's Greg Shetner with a whole lot of, what's it called? A whole lot of damage on the rear end of his car. Obviously disappointing for GMS Motorsports. The GMS Motorsports, they've taken a big hit since the start of the season. Of course, they had a rather disappointing finish at Daytona, and then Richard Birmingham left the team and left the league after Walt Disney World. So now it's essentially Greg Shetner as a one-man band running now in the 37th position. So not for the first race that GMS Motorsports is competing in as basically a one-race team or a one-driver team. They're already putting themselves down by being 2 laps down. And speaking of, looks like Greg Shetner might be getting caught up to by Creed Daniel. Yeah, he's not too far behind, but there's also Luis Aguilar. Luis Aguilar is running pretty much at the same pace as the leaders are. I'm just not exactly sure why he had to go in and pit. I don't think he was involved in another accident. He's actually going to try to pass on the inside of the leader. Oh, it's going to work, actually. He's going to pass the leader. He's basically going to unlap himself, so he's going to be just 1 lap down instead of 2. Now, that's assuming that, you know, he doesn't get relapped. And this lap traffic, especially with Greg Shetner, could slow down Creed Daniel, but it's only 1 car that is lapped and 1 car that's really in contention. So I don't think he has to worry too much about passing him. Yeah, he'll pass him pretty easy. That's what I kind of expected. But Wyatt Floor running 2nd, Darian Arnsdorf 3rd. And here's another guy who's basically run quietly this season. It's Ty Rogers. In the number 6 car, he runs his own team, and essentially he's another one of those guys who can run the one-man band. And we have a caution on the racetrack. Who is involved, perhaps? Looks like it's Faris Khalil. Caution is out on lap 20. Oh, we had a big tangle up out here. So what happened, it looks like, is that Ethan Mitchell, simply put, basically turned the 76, and as he came back up on the racetrack, he took out Kyle Driscoll and Mean Habel, making their debut, and Jay Monin as well of Dan Wilkins Racing also getting involved in it. So for the first time this race, we are under caution on lap 20. Current leader is Creed Daniel, followed by Wyatt Floor, Darian Arnsdorf, Ty Rogers, and Stephanie Larson in your top 5, followed by Nolo Hamilton, Leo King, Agristo Papageorgis, Abel DeMarco, and Dan Wilkins in your top 10. So we'll see some yellow flag pit stops under caution from Darlington, South Carolina in the Southern 200. We'll be back after this. We are back from Darlington Raceway on lap 23 as the pace car lights are off, meaning we will go green next time by. Current leader is Creed Daniel, followed by Darian Arnsdorf, Stephanie Larson, Ty Rogers, and Nolo Hamilton. Wyatt Floor had a pretty bad pit stop, so he actually dropped down from 2nd to 6th as a result. Same can be said with Agristo Papageorgis, who dropped from the 6th position to the 10th position. But still, your pole sitter is still in the lead. And right now you can see Luis Aguilar, Greg Shetner, Jay Monin, and Faris Khalil. They're all lining up essentially there. Luis Aguilar did get the wave around. So Luis Aguilar got pretty lucky because he unlapped himself by passing the leader. So he went 1 lap down, and then he kind of got lucky again with a caution that put him on the lead lap. But Jay Monin, Faris Khalil, Greg Shetner, and Chase Buck are all laps down, and Greg Shetner and Chase Buck are all multiple laps down. So it's a 28, 98, 21, 6, and 33. We'll take it back to the start-finish line as we will go green for the second time this evening on lap 24. Green flag. Man, look at the jump that Luis Aguilar got. What a restart for Luis Aguilar. That is shocking. That might be too good of a restart. That might be a black flag. Let's see what happens. Does Aguilar go to pit road? Because it looks like he almost jumped the restart in a way. Shades of Marcus Marata from Rockingham last year. That is not the case, it looks like. And we're under caution again. And we got a big pile of, oh my, Tim Moore, Bradley Rhyme, and Armin Salvador involved in a pretty big crash. We're under caution just as we're about to go back under green on lap 25. Let's take a look. I think it's just a case of people getting too far jumbled up. Going into turn 3 here, you can see Gustav Adolf II. He basically forced Tim Moore to the bottom. And as that was happening, you can see Ryan Adema, Carl McKinney, Mitchell Collins, Arthur Xavier. It was just a prime example of people in a pack getting too far bunched up. It's essentially the big one. So Mitchell Collins took a lot of damage, and then Tim Moore got hit pretty hard. Arthur Xavier, Bryce Durlocker, Bergen Smith. Pretty big crash, if you ask me, as I think Chase Buck is done. He was involved in that accident that didn't even throw out a caution. It didn't even bring out a caution earlier. Involving Greg Shetner and Chase Buck and a few others, and Dakota Bennett being one of them. But he's already got basically no roof on his, or no hood on his car. We just made contact with Faris Khalil. Wonder if he'll be done. Yep, not too surprised. Chase Buck will be going to the garage. He is done. As now Creed Daniel remains in the lead. He remains unscathed, as most of the crashing today has been in the middle of the pack or in the rear of the pack. Lap 26, we're under caution for the second time. We'll be back once again after this. We are back from Darlington Raceway. We will go green on lap 29, as the leaders right now are Creed Daniel, Darian Arnsdorf, Stephanie Larson, moving up from 5th to 3rd, Ty Rogers and Nolo Hamilton, followed by Wyatt Floor, Abel DeMarco, Leo King, Dan Wilkins, and Agrist and Papa Georges. Greg Shetner, Jay Monin, Faris Khalil, lining up on the inside. Chase Buck is our first DNF of the race. He had a big issue when he was involved in his second accident of the day. His engine, or his header that is, just could not handle it anymore. He's going to the garage. He is done. And the thing about Chase Buck is that he's been really good so far to start the season, so this sort of unfortunately ends his good streak a little early. Heading back to the American Ethanol Go Zone, we are under green once again from Darlington. Creed Daniel already starting to get his advantage. I mean, if you take a look at these guys that are multiple laps down, they are just holding up everybody. But Creed Daniel is now just about a quarter second in front of Darian Arnsdorf. And he's close. He's pretty close to the lead right now. Oh, we saw some people hit the wall on the backstretch. And we have a caution. Bradley Rhyme, Luis Aguilar. So just as I was taking a look, Mina Bell involved in their third accident of the race. Oh, this time it's just people getting bunched up again. And Mina Bell, if they couldn't get any more unlucky during this race, Mina Bell involved in 3 separate accidents today. So as you can see, for the 3rd time today, we're under caution again. Boy, oh boy, we'll be back once again after this. Once again, we're back. We just had our 3rd caution of the race on lap 34. We saw an accident involving Mina Bell, Ethan Mitchell, Bradley Rhyme. As right now, the top 10 isn't too far different than what it was before. In fact, it was the exact same as what it was when we went under green on lap 29. We'll be going back under the green flag on lap 35. Right now, 34 cars remain on the lead lap. 37 cars remain in the race. We have 1 DNF, which is Chase Buck. Pace car will make that left turn into pit lane very shortly, and that is right now as the 28 of Creed Daniel, who's already on the pole. Green flag. Whoa, we got a wreck. We got a big wreck. David Hill, oh my gosh, Tanner Berryhill is upside down. Caution is out. We have a huge wreck. It's a junkyard here at Darlington. Let's see what happened. Somebody tried going 4 wide. How do you try going 4 wide at Darlington? That never works. It was Tanner Berryhill in the 97. Look at this. David Iller gets turned. Jay Bird gets turned around. And Tanner Berryhill goes upside down. Holy cow. And then it's just a mess from here. So many cars torn up. You had a feeling this would happen at some point. The 2 car, the 31. I mean, this is insane. 4 straight cautions. Now, the MSCCT has decided to not red flag the race. But for now, I think it's a little bit concerning considering the circumstances of just how bad of a wreck that was. 4 straight cautions. We'll be back after this to determine who's going to be out of the race and who the heck is staying in. So many cars just taken out of the race because of that accident on lap 35, where Tanner Berryhill went upside down. I was like, wow. That was something crazy, wasn't it? But Creed Daniel remains in the lead, and in 2nd place, Agristo Papageorgis, followed by Patrick Starr, Brady Wilmington, Winty Wolf in the 5th position. He's been running around mid-pack all season long. Finally, he's getting back up near the front of the field. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a chance of seeing an upset here at Darlington. I think that's definitely very possible to see an upset. But right now, it's just 21 cars on the lead lap, 24 cars in the race. The 64 and many others, as we'll discuss later, are out of the race. Creed Daniel and Agristo Papageorgis are 1 and 2, as we now have just half the field on the lead lap as we did when we started. Heading back to the start-finish line, green flag on lap 40. So as I was about to mention, the cars that are out of the race are Armin Salvador, David Iller, Santiago Alvarez, Arthur Xavier, Carl McKinney, Gustav Adolf II, Jay Bird, Tanner Berryhill, he went upside down, Christian Coppola, Mitchell Collins, Minha Bell, Luis Aguilar and Bradley Rhyme. As right now, moving into second position is Patrick Starr. We saw Patrick Starr have some success at Daytona, but of course that was plate racing. And with Patrick Starr usually having his success at short tracks, it's interesting to see him have some success as well at the regular speedways. Although Darlington is very different from regular. They do not fit the norm, of course, with that unusual shape. The reason why that is because back in the 1950s, when the track was being constructed, the farmland owner that basically, they wanted to build some track in turns 3 and 4, but the farmland owner would not give just 10 acres. They would not give 10 acres of land, so that's why it is what it is today. Creed Daniel heading it back to the stripe, going on lap 43 now. Just still a little bit surprised about the running order right now. I mean, you see guys like Brady Wilmington sometimes run at the front. He's in 4th right now. But it's currently Agristo Papa Georges in 3rd and Patrick Starr in 2nd. And Patrick Starr's actually on the inside. I thought he was going to try to make a move on the 28, but now he's a little bit closer to the 44 of Agristo Papa Georges, the Greek Freak as we like to call him. There's Dakota Bennett running in 6th. I think that's another guy that we were not expecting to get back to the front of the field. Of course, considering that he was involved in one of the earlier accidents, and that was the one with Greg Shetner that didn't even bring out a caution. It just happened to be at the wrong place, wrong time for Dakota Bennett. He got hit pretty hard. And he's now running in the 6th position. There's Ryan Adema in the 7th spot. And Darian Arnsdorf, who at one point was running in the 3rd position, now back to 8th. Noah Hamilton 9th, Stephanie Martin 10th. There's Abel DeMarco with a little bit of right side damage. He's in the 11th position. You can see his nice number 22 Bill Davis Racing inspired Caterpillar scheme. Of course, before the days of the MSCC team, before the days of, heck, even the Car of Tomorrow, that was basically, it's inspired by the scheme that Ward Burton ran back in the Cup Series in the late 90s and 2000s before he moved to the 0, the 4, and eventually retired. But he's in the 11th spot. There's Leo King in 12th. Dan Wilkins in 13th. And Kyle Driscoll in 14th. Of course, he was involved in one of the earlier accidents that brought out our 2nd caution of the race. And there is a little bit of a surprise right there. Wyatt Floor and Ty Rogers running in the 15th and 16th position. I think that's a little surprising if you ask me. I mean, Wyatt Floor, he started 2nd and then dropped down to the 15th position. And there's Ty Rogers, once again, a guy who started near the front. His best position was near the front. And then he sort of dropped down to the 16th position. And there's Bryce Durlocker running 17th. I think that's a good thing to see for Durlocker, especially since he started off the season, his first race was at Homestead, and during that race, he actually started to blow up on lap 12, and his malfunctioning engine was what started the Jacob Thibodeau and Ethan Mitchell accident, where Jacob Thibodeau went into the catch fence coming off of turn number 4, and it brought out a red flag, which lasted over 20 minutes. Because they had to repair the catch fence, they had to do everything. And there's Jay Monin sort of holding everyone up. He was involved in one of the accidents. He's a lap down. He's actually 21st. So he's the last car not on the lead lap. Let's take a look from the hood of the 08 of Patrick Starr. it's the 08 and the 28 sort of going away from the rest of the field. They both have a 2-second lead over the third-place driver, which is a Gristo Papa Georgios. And that lead will continue to grow as the race continues on lap 51 out of 147. Right now, I mean, there isn't much passing that's been happening at Darlington. I mean, our pole sitter is in the lead right now, and he's been in the lead and has led every single lap. So I feel like the situation that could bring the leader down is green flag pit stops. Now, if you remember last year's race at Darlington, you might remember that there were no cautions in the entirety of the 147-lap race. There were no cautions, period. As now they'll have to make a pass on Greg Shetner, which they will. Shetner currently running in the 23rd position. Obviously, they are running much, much slower than the lead lap cars, so definitely interesting. And there is Winty Wolf running in the 5th position in the number 3 car for GRC, or the Great Racing Coalition. Just a little bit surprising, because Winty Wolf was just kind of there in Daytona, and he even caused a wreck that took out Leo King and Ryan Armstrong. He caused a wreck earlier in that race, which brought out a caution, the second of 3 that happened at Daytona. And now he's running in the 5th position. Because, I mean, look, the Great Racing Coalition, it's had a lot of drivers just sort of funneling in and out. So you can't really blame them for that. But this will be one of those situations where you'll see some guys who are running near the front, but they're probably not going to take the lead in any way. As he's on the inside of the 62, but he does a little brake checking there, I guess, to avoid an accident. There's Darian Arnsdorf again, running in the 7th position, basically on the bumper of Dakota Bennett. Ryan Adama running 8th. Adama hasn't had the best luck this season. He was running near the front at Walt Disney World, but just couldn't pull it off, and he was involved in an accident at Daytona. He was involved in an accident in both the Daytona Duel and the Daytona 250. But as we're on race 4 out of 26 during the season, you know, there's so much time to turn it around. We have people that are joining the server left and right, leaving the server left and right. It's essentially a revolving door of drivers. So I don't want anybody to be surprised when we'll see, like, at some point during the point standings, 50, 60, 70 drivers in there. Some of them only competing in 1 or 2 races. As now we're slowing down. Is there a caution? There is a caution. What in the world happened? So on lap 59, we saw something. Let's see. Okay, so something... Oh, wait. Is this what happened? Yup. Ty Rogers and Kyle Driscoll. Wow, Leo King got out of that very luckily. He was extremely lucky. Now, I think Bryce Durlocker got a little bit scratched up as well. That's what brought out our fifth caution of the evening. Just a little tangle up between Kyle Driscoll and Ty Rogers. But man, if you're Leo King, think about how I mean, yeah, he did get into the outside wall, but wow, that is incredible how he got out of that basically without a scratch. Let's take a look from his rear view camera just to see, I mean, how lucky that man is. Wow. That is truly incredible. Now, Leo King is coming in for the pits as on lap 60, we're under caution for the 5th time. It will be Creed Daniel that leads the race off of pit road, followed by Patrick Starr, looking at Gristo Papageorgiou, Brady Wilmington, Winty Walt, Dakota Bennett. We will be back after this on lap 60 of the Southern 200. We're back. We just came back from our 5th caution of the evening from Darlington Raceway and the Southern 200. Creed Daniel, who's our pole sitter, has led every single lap of the race, and barring some, crazy change, it looks like he'll stay that way, with Patrick Starr and Gristo Papageorgiou running in the top 3, and then Winty Wolf, a little bit of a surprise contender for his first top 5 finish in the MSCCT, but he's currently running 4th. So you got to give props to him for that, and a lot of guys that you usually don't see running up front are now running up in the front of this Darlington race. And remember, it's the 4th race of the season, so don't be surprised if over the next 20 or so races there's some, in one way or another, surprise winners. And we're not just talking about the plate races that we had. Green flag from Darlington on lap 63 out of 147. There's Jacob, though. He was a lap down, and now he's basically working his way to get back up. Whoa, whoa, whoa! We almost had another wreck? Did we have another wreck? I don't think so. But Winty Wolf and Brady Wilmington had a little bit, and we do have a caution on the racetrack. Look at Wyatt Floor. Wow. What happened to Wyatt Floor? Oh, this is what brings out our 6th caution of the evening. It's the lap car of Greg Shetner taking out Jay Monin, and wow, that is a hard hit for Wyatt Floor. I think Wyatt Floor is... Look at how crunched in that roof is. That's incredible. But we are under caution again. Lap 64. As Creed Daniel remains in the race lead. Boy, oh boy. We'll be back after this. Lap 67 now out of 147. Boy, oh boy, is it getting interessante at Darlington International Raceway. Creed Daniel, Patrick Starr, Gristo Papageorgiou, Winty Wolf, and Brady Wilmington make up your top 5, as we will go green on lap 68 out of 147. Right now, 6 cautions have occurred during the race. Will come off of turn number 4. Just 19 cars remaining on the lead lap. Green flag. Jacob Thibodeau is the only lapped car that's going to compete at the race speed as the rest of the guys. That's the only thing that's going to happen. Winty Wolf jumping to the inside. A little bit more of a tangle up. Ace car is still just sitting where it is, so there's no caution yet. Although I don't know how long that will last considering the circumstances. How often we've seen cautions this evening. It's insane. It's insane the amount of cautions we've seen. There's your victory lane as we're on lap 69 now. This is where the winner will end up going. It's the Southern 200, not the 500, but hey, I can't change those MIP files. Already somewhat of a big lead for Creed Daniel. Jumping out a little bit with Jacob Thibodeau running in the 20th position. You know, it's just like in Daytona, there were so many cars that were not on the lead lap that it was Ryan Armstrong who finished 10th at Daytona and actually got a top 10 while being a lap down. I did not think that that was even remotely possible. Because of the circumstances, because of the fact that there can be any winner at plate races. That's essentially why. Creed Daniel out to now a 1.3 second lead. It's a bit interesting. Let's once again take a look at the hood of the 08. You would think that Jacob Thibodeau was second, but no, he's 20th. And we have a caution. It's Ryan Adema. Is this a single car spin or? Nope, it's Nolo Hamilton. Oh, they all got bunched up in the wall, and then Nolo Hamilton just kind of got turned around. I mean, nothing huge. It's not that bad, I think, but caution is out for the 7th time on lap 72. Creed Daniel in front. Jacob Thibodeau is essentially the only thing blocking the 08 from actually getting to the 28. Winty Wolf also going to pit lane. We'll be back after this once again. We are back now. Just 18 cars remain on the lead lap. Winty Wolf in the 3 car. He went to the rear of the he went to the tail end of the field, so he is in 18th. He dropped all the way from 4th to 18th, which I think is a little bit disappointing. But Creed Daniel, Patrick Starr, Negristo Papageorgis, Brady Wilmington, and Darian Arnsdorf make up your top 5. Darian Arnsdorf finally starting to get a little bit of representation. But on lap 76, we will go under green as the number 28 Xarelto Toyota of Creed Daniel is in front. Pace car makes that turn in the pit lane. Boy, oh boy, here we go again. Coming off of turn number 4, as they will head towards the American Ethanol Restart Go Zone. Green flag. All the 08 has to do is get around the 87 of Jacob Thibodeau, and he'll avoid. Whoa! Brady Wilmington again. Heading down the racetrack, and we got another wreck. Damn, Wilkins evolved. Whoa! They're all bunched up on the backstretch. Ryan Adema coming like a pinball around the racetrack. Oh my goodness, we got a big crash. Look at Ryan Adema. Destroyed race car. On lap 77 now. I think what happened was it was very simple. We saw it with our own eyes. Wilmington came back up across the racetrack. And Papageorgis got in it. I mean, Wilkins had a torn up front end, and that's how the story goes. So it's Creed Daniel back in the lead as we are under caution for the 7th time. As it looks like everyone will be going to pit lane. The question is, who will be staying out? It looks like Darian Arnsdorf is staying out. Abel DeMarco staying out. Ty Rogers, Jay Monin, Brooks Bergensmith, and Winty Wolf will all stay out. But most of the cars are going to pit lane, and I feel like we're going to have even more DNFs. Let's take a look at the leader right now, Creed Daniel. If they will be going to lose, if they're going to lose their lead because of it. I'm just a little bit shocked that there's anybody staying out at all. From what we can see, it's just the 98, the 22, the 6, the 60, the 74, and the 3 that are staying out. And some of these cars are not on the lead lap. They don't have, you know, they're kind of damaged. But there's Creed Daniel. Looks like they'll be getting 4 tires and fuel. That looks like that's going to be the deal. But boy, oh boy, 7th caution of the evening as Creed Daniel does win the race off of pit road, followed by Patrick Starr, Stephanie Larson, Bryce Durlocker, Kyle Driscoll. Looks like Tim Moore will also make his way down. Just incredible how many wrecked race cars we've had, and that will also put the 77, the 41, the 33, and the 01, the 61 out of the race. Just so many DNFs. Basically, half the field has not finished the race. On lap 78, we are under caution for the 7th time here at Darlington. We'll be back after this. It's lap 80 from Darlington. We'll go under green on lap 81 as Darian Arnsdorf finally getting his opportunity. He is in the lead. He started 3rd. He's worked his way up and down the field. We'll see if he ends up staying in the lead. Remember, he stayed out during that pit cycle, so who knows if he will have the lead for long. Because all of those cars that stayed out, Brooks Bergensmith being one of them, Ty Rogers, Abel DeMarco, all those guys, they stayed out. Bryce Durlocker running in the top 10, looking for his first top 10 this season. But it's the 98 of Darian Arnsdorf in the Ford Haas car, representing the All-Star Speed Team, ASST. It's the 98, 22, 6, 74, and 3, representing your top 5. We are under green once again. And look at these guys, the 98, the 22, and the 6. Whoa, Jay Monin! Huge lick on the inside wall. We're under caution. Jay Monin, wow, he's a lapped car too, and he took a big lick on the inside wall. He didn't really get back up to going, and, well, Jacob Thibodeau just decided, I'm going to take you out. Simple as that. Jay Monin's car looking more like a late model, or a modified, excuse me. Are we under green still? No, we are under caution. Okay. So for the 8th time in this race, we will go under caution from Darlington Raceway. Darian Arnsdorf, the leader. I wonder if he will now go down pit lane. We are back under green. So many cars out of the race right now. Just 14 cars on the lead lap and just 15 in the race. The 87 is the only one that's actually a lap down. I mean, this is insane. Guys like Jay Monin will finish 16th in the race, which is not a bad finish at all, but they don't even complete 3/4 of the race. Creed Daniel is back in the lead as they come off of turn number 4. Tim Moore in the 4th position. Green flag. I have a feeling that this 62 might not get going at the same speed as everyone else. I mean, Creed Daniel obviously is a fast car. Just the question is, can the rest of the field keep up? Yeah, there are only 15 cars on the racetrack right now. There's the pace car. Stephanie Larson running in the second. She might make a pass for second, or she's already in second, but she just needs to get past Jacob Thibodeau to get there. The winner of last year's Darlington race was Johanna Robinson's number 70 car, which ironically was also a Ford. And Johanna Robbins won at Darlington, becoming the first female to win a race in the MSCCT. So could Stephanie Larson do it again at the Lady in Black? It seems like it's fitting because it's the Lady in Black. And for the 2nd year in a row, we have a female running up near the front of the field. And yes, Creed Daniel is still in the lead, but it's Stephanie Larson running 2nd. pretty interesting if you ask me. And right now, the holder of the fastest lap during this race is Darian Arnsdorf, who has the fastest lap of 29.455, followed by Dan Wilkins with a 29.514, not even too close to the 98. I mean, that fastest lap right there, and also speaking of fastest laps, Stephanie Larson just put on her fastest lap of the race, 29.493. She slides herself into the second position for fastest lap during the race. That is interesting, as we are on lap 89 of 147. Creed Daniel in the lead, Stephanie Larson in second, Patrick Starr in third, Brady Wilmington fourth, followed by Risto Papageorgiou fifth, Darian Arnsdorf sixth. We have Ty Rogers 7th, Abel DeMarco 8th, Bryce Durlocker 9th, Winty Wolf 10th, Kyle Driscoll 11th, Leo King 12th, Brooks Bergensmith 13th, Tim Moore 14th. He restarted 4th, but has lost a lot of positions because he hasn't really been able to keep up with very good speed. And then Jacob Thibodeau, who is one lap down. The DNFs for this race so far are Jay Monin, Dan Wilkins, Ethan Mitchell, Noah Hamilton, Adam Bennett, Ryan Adama, Greg Shetner, Wyatt Floor, Faris Khalil, Armin Salvador, David Iller, Santiago Alvarez, Arthur Xavier, Carl McKinney, Luis Almeida II, Jay Bird, Tanner Berryhill, Christian Coppola, Mitchell Collins, Nina Bell, Luis Aguilar, Bradley Ryan, and Chase Buck. Notice how there were so many DNFs at this point in the race that I couldn't even do it all in one wreck. Because literally over half the field is going to the garage, and there is probably going to be so much money made with the scrap metal from these race cars that you could probably rebound the stock market all the way. It's just incredible the fact that there has been so many cautions during this race. But still, the pole sitter, which is Creed Daniel, only lost the lead for a few seconds before we went under caution again, and he regained the lead almost immediately. So the pole sitter, Creed Daniel, remember, it took 8 races in the first season for us to see a 2-time winner. It was Abel DeMarco, who won at Martinsville, and then proceeded to win at Watkins Glen. So that was, of course, Daytona. I won the race, followed by Homestead, which was won by Jack Husky, Walt Disney World, which was won by Darian Arnsdorf, and Darlington, which could have a new winner. In fact, Jack Husky actually left the lead after winning Homestead. So, both the 77 and the 98, I mean, the 98 is the only guy in this entire field that has a chance of winning back-to-back races. But right now he's in 6th, and he's 4 seconds behind the leader. And he's got Abel DeMarco right on his tail. So probably for the 4th race in a row, we'll see a different, unique winner in the MSCC too. Now remember that, excuse me, for the MSCCT, there is no playoffs, there is no chase, there is no if you win, you get in sort of thing. That's not how we roll. Whoever has the most points at the end of the season ends up taking home the trophy. Lap number 97 for Creed Daniel. You know, I was told earlier that I should probably look at more of the mid-pack battles instead of just focusing on the leader the entire time. But let's be honest, there is no mid-pack battle. Everybody's just running single file. And right now, you can see really the only battle is the 22, the 98, and the 6. They're running battling essentially for the 6th position. The 98 and the 22 have really had a good tandem going, where they've essentially ran bumper to bumper. They're not even teammates, they just have a good tandem going. But think about it, 2 of the 3 cars in the Marco Larson Motorsports are still in the race. 21's running 2nd, 22 is running 7th. That's pretty good for them. That'll be good for their race payouts, it'll be good for the point system. And still there's just another surprise in the field, it's Winty Wolf, who at Homestead, I believe at Homestead he did finish... Actually, what's even more surprising is that Winty Wolf, this would be his 2nd top 10 of the season. But he's just kind of been known as more of a mid-pack racer during his tenure so far in the MSCCT. But he's really gone in quietly and has made a name for himself in a very, very consolidated and very internal manner. He's going for, in the number 3 Chevy, he's going for his 2nd top 10 of the season, and most people don't even really know who the guy is. I mean, there's a lot of big figures in the MSCCT. There's guys like Abel DeMarco, there's guys like Ryan Adema. You know, there's drivers that these teams and these fans will cheer for. And Winty Wolf is one of those guys that doesn't have a huge fan base, but he makes an impact very quietly in the MSCCT so far. Creed Daniel still running up front. He's got about a 0.6 second lead. Over the number 21 of Stephanie Larson, coming off of turn number 4 once again. And now that lead, if the 21 can pass the 87, then he's in good territory. I mean, Jacob Thibodeau is 1 lap down, but he's racing like he's racing for the lead. And we have some pit stops. Finally, here comes Tim Moore down pit lane. I think he's the only one going to pit lane, though, out of the 15 cars on the racetrack. So still any pit stops? It looks like it's just Tim Moore on pit lane. So Tim Moore is leaving pit lane, and now a Gristo Papa Georges is on pit lane as well. Still some pit stops starting to cycle through. Creed Daniel's still in the lead. He's got a 2-second lead over Stephanie Larson right now. And Stephanie Larson's blowing up. Stephanie Larson has blown up. And, I mean, she's trying to keep pace. But she was running in the second position. And she's going to go to pit lane. So she'll be going to pit lane, and I'm sure she's done for the rest of the race. So let's check in. She is done. So Stephanie Larson becomes yet another DNF here at Darlington. And there is a Gristo Papa Georges who is... looks like he's 2 laps down. So Gristo's running 14th. Right now it's a 3.5 second lead between Patrick Starr and Creed Daniel. still a big lead, and I mean, Brady Wilmington is... I mean, look, Abel DeMarco is running third, and he's 10 seconds behind the leader. It just shows how big the lead is for Creed Daniel. .4.5-second lead right now between the 28 and the 08. And just as we cycle through, there's basically no battling going on. Just, it's kind of single file, and as the race winds down, you can see Tim Moore is 2 laps down, and Brooks Bergensmith, which is the last car on the lead lap. These are 2 cars with a lot of damage on their rear ends. You can see both of them have the exact same, and they're both the same manufacturers, too. Take a look from the cockpit of 28. 74 is not too far in front. I thought we were going to see... I heard the car slowing down, so I was like, could we see green flag pit stop? But no. Thank you to Petty V8 for providing the engine sounds and the car sounds for the game. It's an add-on. But on lap 131 out of 147. Creed Daniel is in the lead. "12 laps to go here from Darlington Raceway. We had an extremely exciting first half. We've had 8 cautions so far and 25 DNFs to this point, which means literally half the field didn't even finish the race. Creed Daniel has a 6-second lead over Patrick Starr right now. I mean, it gets bigger every single lap. It just went from 6.22 to 6.28. Obviously, it's gotten in bigger margins before, but Abel DeMarco running 3rd, Brady Wilmington 4th, Darian Arnsdorf 5th, Ty Rogers 6th, they drifted Buffalo Georges in 13th, Winty Wolf 7th. Remember, Winty Wolf finished 9th at Homestead. He's looking for his 2nd top 10 of the season, and I think it's based off of sheer luck, if I'm being honest. Bryce Durlocker 8th, Leo King 9th, Kyle Driscoll 10th, Tim Moore in the 14th position, and that's it. What else can I say? Pretty crazy if you ask me. Laps to go from Darlington Raceway. We're probably going to see, unless something catastrophic happens to the 28 Xarelto Toyota of Creed Daniel, Unless something catastrophic happens, we'll see the fourth different winner of the season. We saw Dan Wilkins win Daytona, Jack Husky win Homestead, and Darian Arnsdorf win Walt Disney. Coming up next on the schedule for the MSCCT, we're going to see the Coca-Cola 240 at Charlotte, followed by Martinsville, Pocono, Watkins Glen, Indianapolis, Bristol, Atlanta, Talladega, and Texas. And then we will be at the end of the first half. We still are in the first quarter of the season. We're very early on, and even people who joined today, after the race is over, still have a good fighting shot of winning the MSCCT Championship. On lap 141 out of 147. Lap 142. I mean, the lead just gets bigger every single lap. Patrick Starr in the 08, 7 seconds behind Creed Daniel. And two-lap cars, the 87 and the 74, they separate the 28 from the 08. Three laps to go from Darlington Raceway. All he's got to do is just push, and he'll be in victory lane. Creed Daniel running in the front by over 8 seconds. 2 laps to go. Coming off of turn number 4. White flag. 1 more lap to go. Well, this is a little anticlimactic. The last time we saw a race win with this big of a margin was last year at Rockingham, where Jeremy Stanley in the 60 car won by 9.2 seconds. Look at that. Nowhere in sight. But Creed Daniel in the number 28 Toyota will come off of turn number 4 one final time. Checkered flag. Creed Daniel has won at Darlington Raceway in the Southern 200. Patrick Starr coming in second. Abel DeMarco third. And still coming off of turn 4 is Darian Arnsdorf. He'll finish 4th. Ty Rogers 5th. Winty Wolf 6th. Bryce Durlocker 7th. Kyle Driscoll 8th. Leo King 9th. And Jacob Thibodeau 10th. But there is your race winner, Creed Daniel, who will go to to victory lane right here. Thank you all for watching the Modern Stock Car Cup Tour. We'll see you guys next time in Charlotte, North Carolina for the Coca-Cola 240, the biggest endurance race of the year. This is Dan Wilkins signing off for now.